Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, I'm Cyclo. It's time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. And as you can see, we are going to return to Germany, to the Bahnstrecke today. We got all that negative energy from the SC75, the BNSF, ATSF model, all behind us, and we're going to get out of that negative North American energy that we had from that train, and we're going to go straight into the positive German energy of a scenario that has timings that cannot be done. Yeah, I've already taken a peek at this, guys. I was going to do it blind, but then I noticed a timing that was just not going to happen no matter what I did, so I had to edit this one. I'm going to show you what I did to this before I actually get underway. So I'll show you what I did to that as I'm entering the scenario. I've already got the clip taken to that to show you the timings that I'm changing. And as you can see, the word edit appears on the scenario here. You're going to see that scenario number 4 is not here at all. In fact, if I were to go to the menu, you're going to notice that it appears as a different route for some reason. Why? I have no idea, but notice the spacing on the scenario. For some reason, saving this scenario saved it to a different route. I don't know why it did that. It might be something that has only happened since the route was updated. If I want to, I could probably put this on the full route with Leipzig and actually put it on the Leipzig route. I could probably do that with all of these scenarios if I want to. Just save copies of all these scenarios, put them on the Leipzig route. They all appear on the same route. I probably could do that if I wanted to. It just seems pointless to do that because we're not going to be visiting that part of the route anyway, so why bother? But in any case, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just basically do this edited scenario. I'm going to then get the edit out of there, and we're going to just see our lovely gold star there as if nothing was wrong. It is still possible for many of the stops to make many of the stops. It's just not possible to earn a 1,000 point score without making edits. I've gone ahead and made edits to show a 1,000 point run and the timings that would allow you to make a 1,000 point run if they were implemented, and hopefully there's something that can be changed in the future. But again, I'm not confident. Once a DLC is released, typically they don't get changed. We'll see what happens down the road. But in any case, let's get started with S-Bahn in spring edit. So here I am in the timetable for the scenario. This is now a copy of the scenario because I'm going to have to edit this one and slip this one in over the original one to be able to generate any kind of reasonable score on this, because now I've proven it's impossible to myself. And you're going to see what I mean when I get into the scenario. So take notes of these times, ladies and gentlemen. Pause the video if you need to for a moment. Take notes of these times. You're going to see that I cannot stop within the minute on a couple of these stops. In fact, the one that gave me a problem was the Radebeul-Weintraube. I was able to stop at Kötzschenbroda after the listed time, and as you can see, Zitzschewig is not a problem. Apparently that was possible. Oddly enough, Coswig is not possible. I don't understand how that is, but if you edit by 1 second, I'm going to give it 2, but if you edit by 1 second, all of a sudden, it's possible. So yeah, that is white now. That's all you have to do. Find a time that is late enough that the system says, hey, this is possible. And that's what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and change the rest of these times. I'm going to change them up to the next minute in some cases. And we're going to go ahead and give it a run with those and see if they are possible. I know Weintraube is definitely going to go up to the next minute. We'll see about the other ones. Anyway, I'll see you on the other side of my editing. Okay, so editing has now been completed. I am going to see if this works as a scenario. I'm going to go ahead and copy the information from this folder into the other one, and we're going to go ahead and basically try to force the scenario through. Now, I already know from past experience I can put this in place of the official one and it will work, but it involves some effort to do it. You cannot edit the original scenario. As I said, this is a copy of the scenario. If I were to bring up the information, you notice that it says copy of S-Bahn in spring. I'm going to be moving this into the original one and renaming it, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and rename that in a moment, but to make my life a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and put copy at the end. So I'm going to rename it as edit for now. And that will allow me to tell them apart next to each other. But I'm going to go ahead and actually put the new one in place of the old one, and then I'll edit it there so it looks no different. It looks exactly the same. So you're going to be seeing an edited version of this scenario when I come back to you in a moment. Good evening, colleague. Welcome to the beautiful railway line between Dresden and Riesa. Today you'll be driving this S1 service as far as Dresden Hbf. Please let the passengers board here before departure. Okay, departure. Also, I have a name and I've been here before, so colleague and welcome are terms that don't apply. By the way, before I actually close this box and get started, I just want to warn you, I already gave this a run, And as I left Dresden-Neustadt, I noticed that my train was, for some reason, showing to be tilted. I don't know how that happened. And so apparently that's a tilted stop. And I suddenly got a drive quality penalty as I was trying to get up to speed for some reason. It cost me about 400 points. So this scenario is a pain in the butt, especially when you consider the fact that timings are not very easily possible on the original timings here on this scenario. Because of that, I actually made a slight edit to the earlier timings, which are actually red timings in the editor. And I made it so this is a little bit easier for the average player to achieve. So that's why you saw the edit on there. Let's get going. Let's get this train set up. So there's the HUD. We're going to turn the headlights on, which I believe... yeah, they were on. And instrument lights are now on. Reverser is up. And I didn't open the doors yet. So let's do that, and then let's look at the train before we depart. So leaving Coswig, where we started our journey here today, or where we are starting rather, our first stop is Radebeul-Zitzschewig, and we're going to be there in about 2 kilometers. That's one of the longer journeys on the service today, so we're going to possibly get ourselves up to our 120 speed, and we're not going to do that on every stop, unfortunately. There's a service heading to Coswig where we just started. Now, at some point, I am going to register a save along the way because I've already had a number of problems with this service today. One of the problems was actually trying to save while at a station. I found that my train refused to start up again, so I cannot save at stations on this run. I have to do this either as one clean run or save on the go and edit in case something happens. So you may see an odd edit here and there if something happens after, and you're going to see me actually registering the save on the drive as well. So I'm going to show you I'm registering a save. You're going to see that today. I'm not going to hide that. This is just in case something goes wrong for the sake of recording. So you can come back and quickly resume. And now that I say that, I'm probably going to have a clean and perfect run. Just my luck. I mean, I'll take it, as I had a little lag coming into Radebeul here. This is a bit of a bumpy track coming into this stop for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but that train seems to bump on this track a lot. So I'm just adjusting the braking to try to come into the end of the platform here. I've dropped to a 22% application for a moment. Now we're going to go ahead and do a full application to 35 again and open the doors at Radebeul-Zitzschewig. Leaving Radebeul-Zitzschewig, our next stop is Radebeul-Kötzschenbroda. And we're going to be stopping at platform 2 on a lot of these stops if I'm remembering my notes correctly on this. So I've taken throttle out of the 100% level just to allow me to get back to the neutral a little bit quicker if I need to. It's not a huge difference in time once you're going. It's just you just have to get to the higher level for the purpose of the quick burst up to speed at the start. That's what you really have to do here. You're noticing, by the way, the same dial seems to apply to both throttle and brakes. You notice it just jumps over all of a sudden like it did before, and then if you try to move it back, you notice it goes normally, or if you move it forward further, again, it goes normally at that point. So it has the same jump problem that the 101 does on this route. So it seems to be an endemic problem between these trains, unfortunately. I'm going to hold the brakes up for a moment there because I'm doing okay at the moment. So now I'm going to reapply it. You're going to notice it jut into action again there. And actually, I played that badly. I need to up the brakes early here to come to a stop. Now, this is the first stop I had to actually edit on this journey because I found that the time... Actually, no, this stop is... Take that back. This is not an edited stop, but I'm going to overshoot the platform anyway, so who cares at the moment if it is. Arrival at Radebeul-Kötzschenbroda. Leaving Radebeul-Kötzschenbroda, our next stop is Radebeul-Weintraube. Now, I said that this was not an edited stop at Kötzschenbroda. I actually did up it by about 10 seconds or 20 seconds or so because I wanted to see if we could get a white timing, and I just left it because why not? And there's a service going by. That is to Dresden. It is a freight service. Now, it is possible, barely possible, to make the original timing at Radebeul-Weintraube. I don't believe I played it efficiently enough to get that timing. But, again, this one is one of the ones I actually had to edit in order to make it routinely possible. So now you can make this stop no problem at the timing that I've given to this stop. I've set it to 18:06 even instead of the 18:05 and 45 seconds or so that I had before, which was too close to the minute to be... to allow for any sort of comfort. So, there you go. So 22% brake juts into place once again. I think the brakes are coming in at a good enough pace at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it and apply some more now. So 48% might allow me to stop in time for the timing, but I'm not worried about the original timing right now. I'm worried about the one that I've set. So I didn't want 61%, but I'll take it. By the original timing, I would have been late now, but we are going to be on time for our current timing at Radebeul-Weintraube. Leaving Radebeul-Weintraube, our next stop is Radebeul-Ost. Once again, I'm going to pull the throttle away from the 100% at this stage. Next stop is relatively close, as you can see, 1.25 kilometers away at that point. Can't get words out again. We're within a kilometer now. And this should do fine for our first initial brake application, so we'll do that. So if we're over 60 coming in any of these platforms, we're going to have to do a harder brake application. If we're under 60, we can ease it down. That means right now we can ease it down because we're going under 60 a little bit early here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to 35% brakes and now to 48% brakes. And that should hopefully be enough to make our stop. I'm going to ease it back to 35% so we don't brake as hard. In fact, I'm going to go back to 22% now. Once again, for the original timing on this scenario, we would be late now. But for the current timing, we are on time for our stop at Radebeul-Ost, Platform 2. Leaving Radebeul-Ost and leaving the Radebeul area completely after this station. Our next stop is Dresden-Trachau as we enter Dresden on our way to Dresden Hbf. So our next stop is now 1.8 kilometers away. Actually less than that in terms of the station entry, so let's keep that in mind. Station entry is 1.3 kilometers away, and we're going to ease the throttle off now. And further. There we go. I think there is another passenger service going by. This is a much larger train that's about to go by us. I'm going to put the brake application now because I was close to the speed limit. Need to do a heavy brake application now because we're coming in a little faster than expected, but we are going to be good for making this stop, so up to 48% now. Once again, easing the brakes off a little to 35%. That's going to allow me to back up to 22% again because I'm coming in a little slower than I expected. We're early anyway, so we're fine. Arrival at Dresden-Trachau, platform 2. Leaving Dresden-Trachau, our next stop is Dresden-Pieschen, but let's go ahead and get a nice camera view of the other train coming in as ours leaves. So we're going to ignore the HUD for a moment here as I take a quick shot of this for you, for your enjoyment. And the doors open as we're on our way out. There we go. Let's get back in our cab. So reviewing our itinerary, we've now done 6 of our 12 stops. You can see that I have 504 points. So we are past the halfway point in terms of the point scoring stops today. You can see that we're going to have a 70 kilometer per hour section coming up here. That will then eventually move into an 80 kilometer per hour segment for most of the remainder of the journey until our final stop. I need to put those brakes on now. I'm actually a little slow applying those brakes. That was a bad application on my part. I'm going to actually put a stronger application on now just to be safe. I'm going to ease that back off now for a moment. And yeah, we need the stronger application now. So it is on now. In fact, I'm coming in at 48% brake very early here. I'm going to up it to 61%. For much of this platform. I might leave it applied right to the stop. Look at this. We are very early though. I can see that we are indeed very early as we arrive at Dresden-Pieschen. By the way, there's a service going by. The passenger service I mentioned earlier. The second Dresden service going by. And that looked like, I didn't catch if it was an 8 or a 12 car, but it has gone by. Let's look at our own train. Leaving Dresden-Pieschen, our next stop is Dresden Bischofsplatz. Or it might be Bischofsplatz. One of those is probably correct. So you can see the 70 km/h section coming up here. I'm letting our speed go up for now. As we enter the 70, I'm going to go ahead and register a save game, but I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and get our speed up a little higher for right now. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring it down for the 70. That'll do for right now. So about 4/10 of a kilometer or so out, I'm going to put a small brake application on to bring it down. A little bit of leg. There it is. That'll do nicely. And we're getting those brakes on very nicely. A lot more nicely than I expected. So I'm going to ease it off right there. It might drop down on its own. It might not. I had to make sure it got in. So it is in. Let's go ahead and save now. And just in case there's any problems from here on, I can go from there. So we're going to put a small brake application on now to get ourselves down to 60. I believe we're on a bit of a tilted section right now, so this is going to be a much more interesting section to come up to speed on as we leave the station, to say the very least. So we're going to make ourselves come to a full stop here. Trying to let the train ease in because we are still on time within the minute here. And that will have to do. So arrival at Dresden Bischofsplatz, platform 2. Leaving Dresden Bischofsplatz, our next stop is Dresden-Neustadt, also stopping at platform 2 today. Now, have it noted that if you leave that station not going at 100% throttle, you're going to find a drive quality penalty, a very heavy drive quality penalty, being assessed to you. For some reason, that track does not like you driving slow. So if you're driving slow on that section of track, you will get dinged for drive quality. Be aware of that. I've tried it several times going very, very slowly. And that time I just came out going at very fast speed and I had no penalty whatsoever. So be aware you have to leave that station going very, very fast. You cannot drive slowly in that area. So coming in now to Dresden-Neustadt, we're going to go ahead and register our stop here. This is a normal stop on pretty much any service that comes through. So this is a station that you see a lot on services. In fact, you've seen it on the other ones that I've done here so far. And we've arrived at Dresden-Neustadt platform 2. Leaving Dresden-Neustadt, our next stop is Dresden-Mitte, again at platform 2. Now this part of track should not be as bad for leaving at a slower speed if you want to, but obviously it's advised to leave quickly anyway if you can, because you're holding up other trains as long as you stay at the platform. So we're going to go ahead and leave our speed right here at 75. That should be good enough for our purposes. I'm going to let it coast and drop from there. We have to arrive in the next, well, exactly a minute. That should not be a problem at this speed because we're going more than a kilometer a minute at this point. And we are within a kilometer. So we should be able to make this stop cleanly with no issues. Now again, we're not applying any brakes yet because we're still far away from the station for our purposes. Looking in the other lane over there, we're going to see another train coming in a moment. I've turned on the label so you can see that another Dresden service is coming in right there. And I was not paying attention to my brakes, so I've gone ahead and applied them now. At a faster pace than originally planned. We should be within the platform for this stop, so I should be okay to ease the brakes off now, and I have done so. As we open the doors at Dresden-Mitte, another train arriving to our left. Leaving Dresden-Mitte. Our next stop is actually a Dresden station we have not seen yet. Dresden-Freiberger Straße, I believe is how you say that. I have no idea what that character is supposed to sound like. I assume it's supposed to be something along the lines of an English letter B, though I know there is obviously a B in German as well, because you can see the B in this name. So, yeah, someone let me know. We're currently going 70 kilometers an hour. Our limit is still 80, but again, we're giving a little bit of room for error here. We have plenty of time for this stop anyway. Actually, I did not mean to hit the brakes yet, but I just did it instinctively. But now we are going to hit the brakes. I'm going to go ahead and apply a 35% brake application. And now we're going to do a stronger brake application to 48. That should be enough, I would imagine. I might even ease it off, but right now nope, I'm going to go to 61. Going to ease it off again. We're good enough now. So arrival at Dresden-Freiberger Straße. Leaving Dresden-Freiberger Straße. Our next and final stop, as usual, is Dresden Hbf, stopping today at platform number 13. You can see the 6, meaning we're going to have a 60 km/h speed limit approaching at the next signal. So I'm not going to exceed 60 at this time. Though I will go right up to it. Because we're not going to have any kind of downhill that's going to force me into a steep climb. You can see that our track does end up ahead. A very quick peek at the track layout at the station. You can see that all it means is that our track literally ends. It actually does end there. So this is a terminus track right here. We're going to take the... No, we're going to stay straight. I thought we were going to take the left. My mistake. So we're going to go... We are going to make this stop on time, by the way. So I am going to put a strong brake application on in time so we stop before 18:24:59. Because if we're 1 second late this time, we get penalized. So I'm not going to the end of the platform. Do not expect it. I'm just going to go ahead and stop right here as quickly as I can. And we're going to get those doors open. Arrival at Dresden Hbf platform 13. Let's look at the train as the scenario ends. Well, that proved to be a lot harder for me to do than you know it to be. Again, this is why people don't like career scenarios. But you know what? They're doable, and that's... I think I've just proven that this is doable only if you edit the timings. Because otherwise, this one is not doable. You can still get a gold star, but it's just not possible to get that 1,000 points that... a lot of people want to have their name on the menu next to for whatever reason. And while that doesn't matter to me, because the points don't mean anything, at the same time I want to show how it can be done. And my edited version shows that it can be done. And yeah, really all I need to show on that one. So anyway, well done, scenario completed. And let's go to the menu and see what happened here. And there's what happened. By the way, if you drive enough in this train, you get another achievement that is not shown on this screen. So I'm getting the evening springs for getting 750 points or better. My trial run, I actually would have had a 995 or something like that if I saved it, because I got 73 points due to an 11-point penalty at one station, and I had a 4-point penalty from a speeding on that test run. So I would have had a 995 on that one. But I decided to just not save that one and come back and get the full run for you guys. That's what I decided to do. So I didn't want to keep that score in there. I want to get the whole 1,000 at once. So anyway, as we scroll down, we take a look at this. You can see that nothing is registered. Now again, a warning if you do play this scenario, make sure you do not save at stations while you're stopped with the brakes applied. The scripting for this train will seemingly register that as being stopped. As having a permanent brake applied. If you remember, there was another scenario that I mentioned back on West Somerset Railway with the GWR Hall. That train, if you saved while the brakes were applied, all of a sudden the brakes continued to apply, and you eventually just continued to amass drive quality penalties, even when you were not doing anything wrong. When you released the brakes, you started moving, you were still amassing drive quality penalties. So it's kind of the same thing here with the brakes applied at the station. You can resume on the go. I assume you can also save without the brakes applied at the station, but I haven't tried that. So don't do that with the brakes applied. Do not save with the brakes applied at the station, or possibly even on the run. Don't even save with brakes applied on the run if you can help it. And make sure that you will be able to continue your journey from your save. If you need to save, do it while you're driving, or like get up to 5 kilometers an hour, take the throttle off if you want to, and then save your game, and then you can resume from there immediately or next time you play. So yeah, it's a short enough scenario. You shouldn't have to save your game for this purpose, but if you want to, that's what you can do. And again, when you're leaving Dresden, I'm gonna get the name here, Dresden Bischofsplatz, make sure that you leave at 100% power. Otherwise, you will amass a massive drive quality penalty driving along the tilted track as you leave that station. You have to get up to at least 40-50 kilometers per hour as quickly as possible, and then you can ease it off as you get towards 80. So make sure you do that if you play this scenario. If you can do those two things, avoid stopping at the station and get yourself up to get yourself past Dresden Bischofsplatz quickly like that, you're probably going to do very well. Maybe not 1,000 depending on how you play the stops or if you speed or anything like that, but you can still do very well on this scenario if you do those two things. And that's really all I have to say about that. So make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more like this. I'll see you next time for another Class 146 scenario. There are 2 more with this train attached to the route itself. And then we're going to go and do something else again because, I feel like doing something else after these 3 scenarios. So we are going to go out of order doing these 3 scenarios right now because this, again, I believe was scenario number 4. So scenario number 6, I believe, and number 7 on this route are the ones we're going to be doing in the next couple videos. So tomorrow will be number 6. If tomorrow has already come, as you're seeing this on my playlist, that video will be right behind this in the playlist, and so will number 7 in a few days as well from the time I post this. So, with that said, I will see you next time for that. If you do leave for now, have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it is for you at your part of the world. If you do stay with me, however, and you want to see the next video right away, don't even touch that dial, because you're going to see that next video in 3, 2, 1.